freedom of moving doesn't mean freedom from consequences. In fact, if you are European and you are thinking to move to the Netherlands, please don't confuse what it is easy and what is not. Yes, it is easy to move, but you still need a plan to make a sustainable, a smart move. Hi, this is Rossella and I'm the founder of Going Expat. With Going Expat, I aim to support and help people who want to move to the Netherlands from every part of the world. These last years, I have talked to so many people who are not aware of the risks of moving abroad without planning. And so I decided to create a series of videos where I explain a little bit better what are the things to be aware of and the risks if you don't. In the previous video, I had talked about DAFT, which is the visa for entrepreneurs who are coming from US to the Netherlands. And today I want to focus more to the European side. So people that are European citizens and then hold a European passport that are thinking about moving to the Netherlands, or who have just arrived here but didn't figure out yet how to create a life in the country. Yes, moving is legally very easy from European. You don't need a visa, you don't need sponsorship, you can just come as you are. But what I see in reality, working with so many people, a lot of Italians, of course, due to my nationality, but European in general, is that many people arrive completely unaware of what is to live in the Netherlands. And this creates problems very quickly, I would say. Not because they are doing something wrong, but because they got the wrong information, for example, or the info were not complete or were oversimplified, which, believe me, it happens many, many, many times. More than you think. So, in this video, I'm gonna talk and guide you through the most common mistakes the European people do when moving to the Netherlands. Ready? Well, let's start with the first one, the most common. What is the BRP? What is the RNI? And what about the BSN? A lot of people think that these are just small administrative differences. Well, they are not. Very simply, BRP means you are registered as a resident in the Netherlands. RNI means you are registered as a non-resident. So they are two different registers. Now, here what people get wrong. Many people think that they can arrive, register at the RNI, and then they will figure it out later. I'm good, I can work, I can stay, everything is fine. But this is not exactly how it works. It is true that the RNI is providing you the BSN straight away, but the RNI, this register, is meant to be for seasonal workers. So people who come here with a contract of a maximum 4 months, and then they can get straight away their BSN to be paid by their employer. Now, in a lot of situations, in the municipalities, they don't ask you the temporary contract because they understand that people from Europe are moving here and it is difficult to find apartments, so they are registering temporarily at the RNI while they find a job, thanks to the fact that they have the BSN, and then they are going to find a long-term contract for housing. But in the system and by law, this is not the way the RNI should be used. So it can happen that they tell you, it's not possible. Anyway, let's say that everything goes well. You go to the municipality, they accept to sign you in the RNI, which is designed to be temporary, which means that after 4 months, by law, you must have an address. And it is not true that there are no checks on that. There are checks and you can get fined, but also you need to find an address straight away after that. So this is creating a lot of confusion also around tax obligation, issues with health insurance. Employers are not fully understand the situation as well, because a lot of time HR is not really aware of the nuances of the RNI and BRP, just because for them is not relevant. It doesn't really make sense. What they have to care about is to have the BSN, and a Dutch address. RNI is very often misused, not totally wrong. Contracts very often are set up incorrectly if you are registered at the RNI because people will tend to provide the Dutch temporary address that they have. For example, you are subletting an apartment and you are going to give this address, but this is not what is registered at the municipality, and then this is not what the belasting this, so the tax authorization office, is going to read, which is going to create issues with the taxes later on, and at the same time also payroll doesn't really match the actual status. Employer don't check registration properly because it's not their job. So I'm not blaming HR, you are responsible or your own situation. Then let's move to the cost of living. It's a shock. Many people arrive with job and still struggle. Imagine all the people who are arriving without a job. But why they are struggle? But housing, first of all, the crisis, not just the challenge, deposit and upfront costs that they didn't consider about, health insurance, which is mandatory. Some people don't know about that, but also the daily expenses, grocery, transport. People don't do their homework, don't talk about that. They don't really know. So they think, oh, I'm going to get this salary that is higher than what I get in my country, so everything is going to be easier. It's not. Not every job is paid according to the cost of living. In order to be able to pay for your expense, you need to be very aware of what are the limitations that you have in finding a job. So what job you can find, what is paid, and how can you come across life with that kind of job, or what else you can do with your CV, with your background, with your knowledge in order to guarantee for yourself a good life in the Netherlands. This is connected to the next topic, that is job market reality. No worries, you figure it out later. There is work for everybody. You can just speak English and everything is okay. Or the I'll just do anything. Well, no, because in the Netherlands, jobs are skill based, often language dependent, and the market is quite competitive. So it doesn't really work with I'll just do anything or I'll figure it out afterwards. Flexibility is good. Anything is definitely not a strategy. Another thing is arrogance. My degree will be enough. Well, not necessarily. The Dutch market doesn't automatically value degrees the same way, especially if they are from other countries, they are not directly relevant to the role, or the field is already saturated, which, again, believe me, it happens very, very often. And then there is this kind of this expectation of getting a certain level of job without adapting to the market first. The reality is that that job market rewards relevance and adaptability, not just qualification. So if you come in without a clear positioning, what you offer, where you fit, with value you bring, it becomes very, very difficult. I mean, it is difficult already when you bring these things. So imagine when you don't. Why all of this is happening? Well, mostly because of the information they consume before moving. So people consume info that are not correct. A lot of content online, in fact, is based on personal experience. And you will hear me repeating that all the time. What works for one person does not automatically apply to you or to all the different people that we are in the world. Different timing, different background, different market condition, different money we had in our bank account when we move. And when you only see success stories, well, you don't see the full pictures. Or where you see only one problem, well, you don't see what is all around. So how can you do it around? Here are a few key things. Research the job market realistically. Understand salary ranges in your field and if you can actually work in your field. What are the requirements for your field? Look at actual housing availability, not just prices, and talk to experts. You don't need to have a full relocation system in place. You can also just talk to professional like me and like my colleague going expert to have an idea, a clear idea, some tips that are not based on my own experience but are based on knowing the market for years and helping people moving to the Netherlands for years already. Be strategic about your job search. Focus on roles where you are genuinely competitive, not just try, and be ready to adapt. Sometimes one step back is gonna give you basically the it's gonna open the door for you to then go and fly and run the marathon. Moving to the Netherlands is a great opportunity, but it's something you should approach properly and not casually. You are not just moving to a new country, you are moving into a system. And it is better to understand the system before moving in order to experience it in a smooth and sustainable way. If you found this helpful, let me know. If you have questions or want me to go deeper into any of these topics, I'm gonna be happy to cover it in a one-on-one consultation call. You can find all the details to contact me in the description of this video. See you next time. Bye!